Hello and welcome to episode 60 of Learn, Do, Become Radio. I'm April Perry. I'm pretty excited we've made it to 60 episodes. Here at Learn, Do, Become, we help people who are drowning in the details of life to create simple systems so that each one of us can do what matters most. We love this concept of architecting a life of excellence. And there's a lot of ways that can be done. And we're hoping that as you join with us, you can become inspired and more excited. And also that you can know you're not alone in your challenges. I'm actually recording this in my car. I pulled over on the side of the road under a shady tree. There's some cars going by. But there's something really important that I wanted to record today. And I would go home and record, except it's summertime and the kids are in and out of the house and everything's going on. So I have a better chance of being alone or not interrupted here in the car. My mom, when I was growing up, she called her car her office. And so we would say, "Mom, where are you?" And we'd be calling around the house. And then we'd go find her in the car. And she'd say, "Oh, I was out here in my office." So I'm totally feeling like my mom right now. But today I have a story for you. And then I have a question for you. The story is from when our daughter Aaliyah was 3 years old. Now, when she was 3, we had Grace, who was 1, and Ethan, who was a baby. So we had a lot of little ones. And she came out of church one day, and she was holding this little paper cup. And they'd had a lesson about faith. And they were talking about seeds growing and your faith growing and that type of thing. But she brings me this cup, and it had a few little seeds at the bottom. No dirt or anything inside. It was just an empty cup. And it has a label on the outside about faith. And I looked inside the cup as she was handing it to me, and I noticed that there was grass drawn at the bottom, a crayon, and a stem with leaves and a little flower all inside the cup. So it looked like inside the cup, this little flower had been growing. And I was trying to picture how she'd even drawn it because it was a pretty small cup. And she was trying to maneuver these full-size crayons inside the cup, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me what she'd been doing. So I said, "Hey, Leah, why did you color the flower inside the cup?" And her response was, "I wanted the seed to know what it could become." Now, when she said that, while I'm getting in the car and I've got all these little kids, I remember just pausing for a moment and thinking, oh, wow, this is a lesson that I need to learn as well. I love the story. I've saved that little cup. I'll put a little picture of it on our show notes page, learndobecome.com/episode 60. So you can check that out. But I've kept it. I've looked at it. I actually taught a lesson at church on Sunday. I took that cup with me to show the girls that I was teaching. And I just want each one of us to think about what we can become. Now, there are a lot of ways that we can come up with answers to that question. And it's not something we're going to necessarily solve right this minute. And at Learn, Do, Become, we actually talk about this concept a lot. So I'm sure we'll be covering it more in the future. But there's one question today that I want to ask you that I've been asking myself. And it's been really, really helpful for me as I have been considering this question. Hope that it might be helpful for you. Okay, so here's the question. What kind of a mentor am I looking for right now? When you open up your podcast app or you go to the library and you're perusing the books on the bookshelf, or when you're scrolling through social media, or when you're attending a conference, what kind of a mentor are you looking for? And I encourage you to get out a sheet of paper or a digital note and write this down. For example, I realize that I am looking for a mother of teenagers who is also building and growing a business, who has a big vision, who really thinks big, who believes in herself, who puts her family as a top priority, who really invests in her marriage, invests in her children, who doesn't get caught up in trying to look a certain way or trying to please everyone. I'm looking for someone who can model for me and show me how to be able to build an awesome family and be really close to God in the process, and to be able to pursue a mission, a personal mission. Now, I've found some great people that I follow online, and I found parts of all of that, but it's been hard for me to find like the person that I'm trying to find. And I'm guessing it's probably similar for you. There are certain things in your life and in your history and your experience, and your goals are unique. And so most likely you're looking for this person who can help you make your way through the challenges that you're facing, and who can model for you the things maybe that weren't modeled for you growing up, or things that you currently can't find. So once we've identified what kind of a mentor we're looking for, and we write down all the specifics of what would be our ideal, then a challenge I want to give you is that you work to become that. Not that you have to become it right now, it might take some time, but that you set your sights on becoming that mentor for those people who are going to follow you. This actually happened for me years ago when I first became a mother. I was crying to Eric more times than I want to admit. He would come home from work and I was in this little apartment with no money. We didn't have TV. We didn't have social media back then. I was really overwhelmed. And I said, Eric, I'm looking for a mother who balances things and who pursues her education and who loves motherhood and isn't trying to get away from motherhood, but who loves family and also wants to be able to live their mission, right? Like I was talking with him about that. And he said, okay, April, I'm sure there are a lot of mothers out there and you can keep looking and interviewing and talking to people, which I did. But he said, you need to become that person. If you can't find it right now, you need to become that. And that idea inspired me to create powerofmoms.com and to go to the library and read every book I could find about motherhood. It inspired me to call up different parents that I really admired. I would go to their homes with a clipboard and a pencil and all my questions. I would learn, how do you do it? How can you do it? And in many ways, I was able to achieve those goals I was looking for. Now, things have changed because now I'm running a full-fledged business with Eric, and our children are teenagers, and my vision has expanded. I mean, almost to the point that it's painful at times to have this vision because I can see it and I want it, but it's not easy for me to take care of all the details of a business and also be fully present at home. There's a whole lot. It's a big deal. And so I'm continuing to explore, to have conversations, to learn from people who at least have parts of that. Maybe they're not a mother, but they're an amazing person who's learned how to manage their priorities really well. Great. Or maybe it is a mother that I talk with who has teenagers, who's doing an amazing job, and I just want to learn from that person. But it's really a beautiful process when instead of always looking for that perfect mentor who has all of the experience and all of the ideas and everything that you uniquely need, because chances are you can get close, but you might not be able to find that exact mentor that you need that has everything wrapped up in one bundle. But as you go through that process, it really starts creating an awesome picture of what you can become. Whenever I have time to think and to process, and like what I'm doing right now, I'm on an April day right now, and this is where I have a few hours to do more high-level thinking, to record podcasts, and to be able to have just time to be able to step back from my life. I'm going to go sit down on the grass. I brought out all of my dream journals and a piece of paper. I've got the big butcher paper. I've got all these little notes and ideas. And I'm just going to sit down and step back and look at my life with a prayer in my heart, asking God to show me, what could I become? What's this vision that I can be working towards? I'm not exactly where I want to be yet, and I don't think any of us are. I don't think there's ever a point you totally arrive. I'm really happy with progress, and I'm grateful for the wonderful things I've been able to do. But I see a lot of improvement that's available for me that I'm excited about. So, thinking about that little paper cup and thinking about the kind of mentor you're looking for, I encourage you to take some time and write down What do I want to become? Who do I want to become? And it's those ideas and it's that vision that's going to lift you and motivate you and carry you out of maybe the piles of clutter you're in right now, or the emotional clutter you're experiencing right now, or maybe you're going through something kind of traumatic right now. There's so much hope and excitement available for all of us. I know I say this a lot, but I feel it. And I'm hoping that wherever you are as you're listening to this podcast, that you can recognize that when you look in the mirror and you want to criticize all the things about you, or you might look at your bank account and think, oh, this isn't where I want it to be. Or you might look at your calendar and think, this isn't what I want it to be. That there's change. We can all make changes, and it's awesome. Growth is amazing. And then one final point to think about. We would never criticize a seed and say, man, you're not living up to your potential, because the seed is in the seed state. It's not done yet. Just like we don't want to look at ourselves and say, man, you're not living up to your potential, because certain parts of us are still in a seed state. Anyway, I like to think about that. Okay, have a great day. Thanks so much for being with us here at Learn, Do, Become. If you have not yet taken advantage of our free class, Steps to Everyday Productivity is our program, and our free class is called How to Finally Stop Drowning in Piles. You can find out more about that at learndobecome.com/step. But whether you join our STEP program or you're just here listening to the podcast, being part of the community, we're grateful for the chance to help you to learn, do, and become. Have an amazing day. Take care.